It's Monday, so that means it's time for another edition of 3 Point Stands presented by Mountain Dew. Meghan, Triplett, John Roser, he ran to get this one done, so I'm excited about it.
Can you tell? I am sweating like crazy. It feels like summer is right around the corner in Memphis. The humidity don't lie.
It does not. I curled this hair. It was like tightly curled. And then by the end of the day, here we are. But we still got so much to get to because as humid as it is, we got a lot to talk about. And let's start in Memphis and talk about the Grizzlies. Over the weekend, they took on the Magic Friday and Saturday, 1-1. But Saturday's game is the game that kind of left us with a lot of questions and wondering what happened. We were up by 20 points. And the Magic come back in that second half, and Cole Anthony just put a dagger in our hearts with that shot. It's a good shot. He makes it and says, "This is what I do," and he did it.
Yeah, big time shot from Cole Anthony. Props to him. It's another immature loss from the Grizzlies, from a young Grizzlies team. The team they play tonight is another team that they blew it to in the fourth quarter when they were up big. And these are games where, if you look up after these next 2 weeks, and we'll get to that in a minute, these are the kind of games, this Magic game, that Knicks game that you had in New York. Those are games you're going to be kicking yourself over because you had those games. And the other one too that we'll throw in there is the Portland game where they came here and just absolutely beat the brakes off the Grizzlies. And it appears that has totally given Portland life. They have been a total different team since then. Got a big win in Boston yesterday. So, look, that was a bad loss. There was no reason to blow that game. There's tons of things you can point to. Ja going 1-on-2, trying to do a behind the back move late in the game when you didn't need to do that at all. There are tons of things you can point to, but it's just a bad all around loss. But props to Cole Anthony on that shot.
Yeah, it was costly turnovers, free throws, the fouling. We got into foul trouble way too early in the game, and they got to the free throw line way too many times to kind of get them back into the swing of things. And Coach Higgins said that they were just careless in the second half, and they really were. The good thing is we've seen this team be able to adjust and adapt, and we know that this team can come together. But as we look towards these next 2 weeks, that's why these games matter. And that goes into our next answer, what these 2 weeks look like in the NBA across the board, especially in the West, how teams are moving out. The Lakers, they're at the 6th spot right now. Portland is right below them. And you talk about Portland, they've won 4 straight. They've beaten Boston. They've beaten the Pacers. They've beaten the Nets. They beat us. And now they're getting into the groove of things. So how it plays out for us when it comes to the seedings and the playoffs is that you got Golden State, you got San Antonio, you got New Orleans all right there. And there's so much movement going on that you're now trying to figure out, do you want to be a play-in tournament team? And where do you want to fit and where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's going to be tough for a young team not to, but just don't watch the standings. Just go win. Just like you can control your own destiny if you just go win the games you're supposed to win. Starting with New York tonight, beat Minnesota and beat Detroit. And I can't remember who they play Saturday. Or is it Minnesota? I don't remember. I know they have Minnesota and Detroit coming up here. They have Wednesday,
3 games on the road, and they come back here, come back home.
Yeah, okay. So look, like, just win the games. That's all you got to do. Just go win the games. Like, don't mess around when you get a lead. Like, just win the games. It's simple. Just go win.
Yeah, every team is in the hunt right now. You said it best. Like, LeBron James said it too. He was like, they're not where they want to be. And, like, obviously health is a factor for a lot of these teams with these next 2 weeks. But now it's just like playing your type of basketball, but you're playing playoff basketball now. These last 2 weeks is very different. Whether you like the play-in tournament or not, these are playoff games because nobody wants to be in the play-in tournament. You just don't. And, LeBron talked about saying how it was a bad idea. He's not for the play-in tournament. And then even in the Eastern Conference, you got movement at the top of the standings and towards the bottom with the Atlanta Hawks. You got the Boston Celtics in the 7th seed. Now, as you mentioned, you got to win. You got to start figuring out what are the holes and what are the issues that your team has because you don't have much time left.
I will say for the Eastern Conference, I think I'm pretty dead set now. I don't think anybody's beating Brooklyn. And I don't think they'll be close. I watched that game against
watching the Giannis battle.
I watched it yesterday. I don't think that is. I mean, they don't even have Harden. And I don't even think I thought Milwaukee was giving everything they had, everything they could give. And I did not gather the same from Brooklyn at all. They were letting Giannis go one-on-one all the time. Like it never felt like, okay, Brooklyn has really just turned it up a notch yet. Like I think there is another level that Brooklyn has. They may have 2 to 3 more levels that they can get to. And I don't think they got close to showing any of it yesterday.
And here's the thing with the Nets. It's very different because you're still playing without James Harden.
I know.
And whether or not that, like, a lot of people are saying, well, we don't really know what those 3 guys will look like out there on the court together. To me, it's still a weapon that they haven't been able to use just yet.
And they're arguably 3 of the best 5 offensive players in the game. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's arguable. I think they are 3 of the 5 best players in the league on offense. Oh, we've never seen anything like this before. We thought we had seen it with Curry and KD and Clay, but like this, I think this is a different level.
Yeah, this is a different level. This is a different season. They wanted these last 2 weeks to be competitive. They didn't want a situation where it's like, okay, teams start resting people, gearing up for the playoffs. But now is that time where you got to kick it into a whole other gear. And the Grizzlies will start tonight when they take on the New York Knicks. That game is at 8 p.m. Central Time on Valley Sports Southeast. And I know it's an 8 o'clock game. You got your run in, so now you can get a nap in too.
Yeah, I know. 8 o'clock home games are for the birds. I'll be so happy when this season's over and we don't have to worry about 8 o'clock home games anymore until the playoffs starts.
I know. Hey, I have to wake up and do Rise and Grind every morning, so you have it a little bit better.
I'm there with Jessica for every post game. I'm there. I trust her. I know. I understand.
All right. Well, how about this? We got to end on the NFL draft. Roser, I know your team didn't pick who you predicted that was going to go to the 49ers last week. But overall, the draft is over. Several names were called. You got Kenny Gainwell going to the Eagles. That was done on Saturday, a Memphis guy. But overall, what you look at, how are you with your quarterback choice? Are you okay? Have you processed it? Have you taken these last couple of days and say, I'm okay with it?
Yeah, like I was okay with it at the time. I'm not going to – people who say bad pick, it's like, shut up. You don't know. Like, you've never watched Trey Lance play football, so you don't know. I'll trust Kyle Shanahan. He's an impressive kid, though. I think all those quarterbacks, Zach Wilson's the one who really scares me the most. Like, I am more confident just Trey Lance because he's got Kyle Shanahan. Like, and he made Nick Mullins look like a competent quarterback for a while until he could no longer make him look competent. Trevor Lawrence is awesome. Mac Jones, I think, is a stud. And Justin Fields, I think, is awesome, too. Zach Wilson is the one that I worry about the most. I know he throws some crazy arm angles, but that kid worries me.
Worries in a good way, worry in a bad way?
Bad way. Like, when he got picked, I was watching with Chris Vernon, and I go, this dude's a bust.
Mel Kiper gave the Jets an A- for the whole entire draft.
That's the thing too. I don't care about draft grades because these dudes don't know either. Like you don't okay. So I just gotta go for personal experience. The 49ers drafted George Kittle. George Kittle was like 180 pounds, and he took into the 5th round, and now he's like 6'5". 260 pounds and runs like a 4.6 40. Like, it's ridiculous. You got to see what these guys are going to develop into. Football is different than basketball. Mm-hmm. Basketball players, you can tell at like a very, very, very young age who is the elite of the elite. And in football, guys develop different.
Well, in football, a lot of it, like a lot of puzzle pieces slot. You can be great, but you got to have the protection. It all depends on what you're.
There's so many things go into it. Yeah, so many things go into it. Like, I mean, look, we all know Patrick Mahomes is awesome. Well, in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes couldn't do anything because he couldn't get protected. Like or like when you draft offensive linemen, they're boring picks, but like. You got to have them.
You definitely do. We had so many quarterbacks go, as you mentioned, Justin Fields, Chicago moving up to get Justin Fields. I think that was a big surprise for the entire draft. But the draft was overshadowed by news of Aaron Rodgers and where he will end up. Does he want to stay in Green Bay? Does he want to go to Denver? What will all happen? That is now the next storyline when it comes to the NFL is where will Aaron Rodgers play? And we will wait and see. And I'm sure when that does happen, we will have it on 3 Point Stance, and we'll give you our stance as the NFL season kind of more news and notes start to come out.